Hello, America and the rest of the world. I'm Jake the Film Guy, Microbudgeter.com. This website right here, where you can get tips and tricks for landing those 4- and 5-figure video production jobs. You're going to learn sales, marketing, and everything that I've learned along the way en route to being a filmmaker, same as you, that is good, bad, and ugly. I absolutely will share everything because I want there to be a teachable moment along this journey of being a filmmaker to tell you what not to do, and maybe, just maybe, offer you a few things that you should do. So, smash that big red subscribe button if you're brand new here, and if you're not brand new here, well, welcome back. We're going to talk about lowballing. What the deuce? We got to start with a common agreement here. When it comes to lowballing, when you're prospecting a video production client, they're either going to do it one of two ways. First of all, they're either going to do it intentionally. It's a tactic. People do it negotiating. It's to see how you'll respond. That could happen to you. The more likely scenario, especially at our level where we are running home-based video production services while we are trying to get our films and stories made, the more likely scenario is that the person is going to do it accidentally. That's what I'm going to look at here in this video. How do you respond? And does it benefit you? Does it benefit them to say yes to that deal? All that and a bag of chips. But first, we now go to a word from our sponsor. I'm just kidding. We don't have any sponsors on this channel. This channel is for you and you alone. And to a lesser degree, me. So, welcome. Let's dive right in. A lowball offer, for example. This past week I had an offer, and I believe it falls certainly into the latter category of being an unintentional or an accidental lowball offer. Massive project. Easily to the tune of thousands of dollars. I've been doing this for years. I'm fast. I'm the fastest this side of the Mississippi, especially when it comes to post-production. Nonetheless, the reason it is often accidental is because the person doesn't know what you were capable of. They hear a whisper, they see a digital footprint, they have an idea, they have some semblance that you are actually qualified to do this job. The problem is, they don't know how long you've been in the game, how quick you are. They don't know your level of customer service. If they're a brand new prospect, they're really on that spectrum. The needle is just a little bit past cold as far as a cold prospect or a warm prospect goes. So they know next to nothing, which is why it's incumbent on me, it's incumbent on you to communicate the value that you're going to bring. I have to communicate that value in that first conversation if that needle is going to go anywhere in the warmer region and maybe possibly to a red hot deal that you can possibly close. But as always, you want to qualify, always qualify. And that's where in these first few conversations, ideally the first conversation, you can tell if you're talking to the decision maker. In this example, I was. And secondly, if they've got the money. And if they don't have the money, do you really want to discern, can they get the money? Can they finance it? Is it a worthwhile endeavor? Or if they are truly absolutely broke as a joke, do you recast your fishing line? There are over 7 billion people on God's green earth. And just because somebody lowballs you, whether intentionally or accidentally, doesn't mean that that's where the buck stops. No, there are other people out there that need your creative talents and vision, and you can go and find them. Now, this lowball offer was a fraction, absolutely a fraction of what it should have been. It was an over 30-minute I'm conflating dollars and minutes. It was an over 30-minute production. As far as the post-production goes, final cut would be over 30 minutes, and it was going to be a hybrid of live action and animated elements. Reportedly, it was already 3/4 of the way done. Nonetheless, even if a quarter of it was left, and all the other stuff was solid, good to go, which, as we know, that's never the case. There's always going to be revisions, especially if you're picking up the slack for somebody else. The person I could qualify was the decision maker, and they weren't bagging on the last vendor, the last person to work on this project. If they do, run! I talk about that elsewhere at the site and certainly here on the YouTube channel. So those two qualifications were met. But the third qualification, the budget, was not. It was a ridiculously low number. They were not intentionally trying to lowball me. They were accidentally lowballing me, unaware of the value I could bring or how long I've been in this game. It was an offer, suffice to say, that was more appropriate. An up-and-coming student, someone with absolutely zero portfolio, zero credentials, who needed to just get their hands on something so that they could get that initial validation that they are working on a project and that they are worth being paid. That's how low the offer was. So, can you qualify them as being able to pay more what you're worth? Absolutely. And I did. I explained what, in the bleakest of terms, some of my rates would look like. That right there stopped the conversation, as it should. There's no reason to chase a carrot that you're never going to get. If they cannot pay, they cannot pay. End of story. Find another person. So I'm very thankful that after that first conversation, I was able to come back and qualify them with the price. That disqualified them. It saved them headache, and it saved me a lot of headache too, because it's not worth chasing something that ultimately you could be paid more working at Panda Express in less time than to do this kind of gig that's going to ruin your reputation, especially when you're further along the growth curve, and spend inordinate amounts of time. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And I've talked about this elsewhere. In the macro sense, it's not good for our industry when you take all these lowball offers. It's good for the people that have zero experience. That's the only time it's acceptable. But if you're just trying to make a buck, don't take the low-paying jobs. Intentional or accidental, it doesn't matter. If they're trying to lowball you, you don't take the job. Again, qualify. Are they the decision maker? Are they the person that can write the check and have the final approving authority on that project? Good to go? Awesome. Then qualify them on terms of price. And sort of along the way, qualify if you're picking up, in this example, on someone else's work. Qualify if they're going to be respectful of the person that worked beforehand. And generally, you'll know right away by their words and sometimes their body language if they like the last person they work with. If they didn't, that's going to be abundantly clear that you need to disqualify them. Does it benefit them to lowball you? Absolutely. As I've said before and elsewhere, it's always in the best interest of the business or the company that's hiring you, whether it's for a 1099 gig or a W-2 full-time role or even a part-time role. It's always in their best interest to get you for as cheap as possible. They're going to do that. That's just the nature of business. Does it benefit you? No. And again, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. The only time it benefits you is if you are brand new. You're a high school student, you're a young college student, you're wet behind the ears, you don't have a family to support, you have zero overhead, and you have zero paid experience. That's the only time it benefits you so that you can get your first notch on your belt. Savvy? Okay. If you stuck around this long, we're going to go into a bonus section here. And in this bonus section, I'm going to give you a couple of my favorite ways to handle these complaints when they talk about the budget. I've said them before. They're worth repeating. There are many more that you can learn from the greats like Zig Ziglar, who is no longer with us, or Grant Cardone, who is now fashioning himself into sort of a real estate guru, but he built his legacy on sales training, and he still has it. So learn from his free content. Maybe pick up one of his books on closing, or rent one, and you can do the same for Zig Ziglar. There's a lot you can learn from these guys. Some of my favorite closes that I've used along the way and have been extremely helpful. Oh, it's too much money. Yep. Sign here. It's agreement. It's the number one rule of sailing. It's the number one rule of selling. Agree with the person. I agree. It's a lot of money. Sign here. It's over budget. I know. And you know what? I'm over budget too. We're all over budget. In fact, we've got a Monday night budget meeting. We all talk about how over budget we are. And in fact, you can give the first talk. Membership's free on me. Come on out. Have fun with that one. I absolutely love that one. And I used that on a guy as we were walking through the parking lot. I was trying to close him. I didn't end up closing him, but it made him laugh. And it definitely diffuses tension to bring humor into the situation. It's absolutely one of my favorite closes to try to counteract someone's objection, what they perceive as an objection and what you and I need to perceive as a complaint. Here's the third and final one for today. It's too much money. I agree it's too much money. And you know what? You're going to do it anyways. Sign here. That's it. I agree it's too much money. And you know what? You're going to do it anyways. It acknowledges the fact that they need the service that you provide as a video producer, as a content creator, as a digital communications guru. It absolutely validates their need for that service that you can provide and acknowledges they're going to do it anyways at some point. Wish you the best of success in your video content creation and your video producing and your journey of being a filmmaker. And I pray that you will lean into whatever it is God has equipped you to do and do it well. Do it for His glory and do it to bring light in the darkness. These are troubling times we live in, and we absolutely need your God-given vision and skill set. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace!